Welcome to the Intentional Father Podcast, where us fathers parent our children, not by accident, but with intent. I'm your host, Aaron Stroman. Hey, welcome to episode 8. This episode is titled Party House. We're going to be talking about making your house the party house, and here's why. Not like what we might think of as the stereotypical party house, but is your house open to the neighborhood kids, your children's friends from school, friends from church? How inviting are you with your home? And I'm going to make a case that you should be really inviting, kind of have an open door policy where children are welcome to come hang out at your house. The reality is, kids are going to go somewhere to play. If there's no neighborhood park or, kind of public hangout, they're going to be hanging at someone's house. If you can make that house your house, you're going to be ahead of the game because you don't know what goes on at other people's houses. Not everyone else is going to have the same value, the same wisdom or discretion as you, even the same safety as you. And a lot of times, you may not know if there are adults at other people's homes when the kids are hanging out there. If you make your house the hangout house in the neighborhood for all the friends, all the kids, it's so much better. It's so much better. And what this looks like when your kids are little versus older, it'll morph and it'll change. But there's huge value there because you want to be able to be the culture maker when it comes to who your kids are hanging out with and what those interactions look like. I'm not saying that you should prevent people from coming over if they're, quote, bad kids, because there will be those negative influences. Welcome them, but when they're at your house, you get to observe all the interactions and behaviors, and then you can unpack those and help your kids grow through that. It's called parenting. It's fatherhood. We're being fathers of intentionality, and having the party house looks like this. So, man, Doug Fields, Eddie Shigley both really modeled this well. And I've got a good friend named Lance. He does this well. Loves and really values hospitality. I've tried to do this. One of the things that I did when my kids were little, I had a playground, I had a trampoline. So it helps if there's something fun. Get a basketball goal, get the yard toys, whatever it is. Be okay with bicycles in the front yard. I can't tell you how many times I'd leave the house in the morning to go to work, and there were a couple bikes in my yard that were not mine, weren't my kids, and it's just kind of like, okay, this is the stage of life we're at. But it's good. So have something to make your house attractive. I'm not a big video game fan. My kids didn't have video games when they were little. My son does now, but that would be an okay thing. In fact, that might be a good family rule. You can't play video games unless you have a friend over. So, and it's kind of a trick move because a lot of times when friends are over, they want to do more than just play video games. But a video game would be a good thing, especially in the wintertime. Video game, movies, football watch parties, stuff like that. Open your doors to the community so your kids and their friends are all hanging out together. And then here's a little piece of advice. Make it a judgment-free zone. If kids are acting up, maybe they're cussing and you don't allow that language in your home, you might not need to interject to address it, but address it with your own kids later and teach them how to lead through all of that. And you'll be surprised they'll be able to. Another move I made personally here at my house was I bought a mini fridge for the garage. I always left my garage doors open. And I had a little snack box that would go on top of the mini fridge. And I made sure to make it a rule, and I would talk to the kids as they came over. Eventually it was public knowledge, but whenever the kids would come over, they got one drink for the day and one snack for the day So I limited them to one, or else they would have just crushed everything. And the rule was they had to throw their trash away when they were done eating and drinking their drinks. So sometimes they would grab a snack and a drink and go jump on the trampoline. And if there's trash around in the yard, I would step out and make them pick it up. Or if I knew who did it yesterday and there's trash out there today, I would go and say, "Hey, Sam, I think you left some trash in the backyard. It's probably by accident, but I would like you to pick it up before you play anymore." And had real healthy boundaries and expectations. But the kids loved that. They loved that. And they never, kind of being the trash enforcer wasn't the greatest moment, but you have to make some of those boundaries so that your house can be the fun house without driving you mad and creating more work than what's necessary. Also, if kids are doing that, they're probably just lacking responsibility, and they'll respect you for helping them learn that responsibility. But dude, the snacks and drinks, oh my goodness. Kids would come over, even if my kids weren't home. I have my kids 50-50. There'd be knocks on my doors, and I just learned just leave my garage door open. Kids would be jumping on my trampoline and swinging on the swing and, hanging out when my kids weren't there. And I was fine with that. What are some other things? Oh, here's the deal. With that, you're going to get some kids who are trouble at your home. Just know that's the price to pay. You got to pay to play, okay? There's one kid in particular. He was a little destructive. He would come over when I wasn't home. I know once he kicked a railing on my deck, and broke it just to because he's being a little punk. He's a troublesome kid. I had to fix that. Now, I talked to him. I confronted him about it, had him own it. But some of those things happen. That's okay. Kids will play rough, and, they might steal something out of your yard. They might upset your own kids. Again, these are great life lesson opportunities where you can teach your kids how to deal with this type of behavior and that type of child. And you're helping them mature and grow into the adult that they need to be. So it's not all like rainbows and flowers. There's some extra work that comes along with it, extra expense, but it's worth it. And I can't tell you how many times I'd be making dinner for my kids, and the neighborhood kids, they wanted to eat too. They'd get a whiff of the pizza in the oven or the steaks on the grill. "Oh, can we eat dinner here?" And say, "Go talk to your parents. I got enough food for you." And kids would end up joining us for dinner. I've talked about dinner time on past podcasts. I think that was season 1, but the value there. But when you're having other kids be a part of that, it can be really valuable. It really can. That also, this whole thing got me in contact with other parents as well. Before kids would jump on the trampoline, I would have their parents text me and give permission that that's okay. I'm not a lawyer, but there's some. You might want to have a waiver or disclaimer or something if you have a trampoline or swimming pool, because accidents can happen. But it put me in touch and in contact with other parents as well, so I was able to build relationships where otherwise I wouldn't know who these other parents are in my neighborhood. So there's so many benefits, and just a little bit of intentionality can go so far when you're making your house the party house or the fun house. And so that's what I would encourage you to do. Get creative with it. You're gonna come up with things and ideas that I may not have. Share those in the comments so we can learn from each other. Again, my friend Lance, his church does in-home small groups, and so he hosts 1 or 2 of those. And he's made his house a party house. He has a hot tub in the back now, a huge a playground swing set, the trampoline, a zip line. He's done it really well. Maybe the playing isn't your gig. Maybe it's cooking, and kids will eat food. Always. They're always hungry. So however you approach it, make it work for you. I'm not sure there's a really right or wrong, but I would encourage you to find a way to have the community come to you instead of your kids going out to some other house, because that's where bad things happen. That's where the molestation, where the drugs, the alcohol, the fights happen. And when it could be under your roof, you're winning. So Make your house a party house. I hope this was encouraging and challenging for you. We'll see you on the next episode. God bless.